Welcome back to the Be Unexpected podcast with Wyatt Spalding and Jake Burnside. Today we're joined with our friend Claire Meyer. Claire, how's it going?
Good. How are you guys?
Good. So Claire and Jake and I, we all went to Fremont High. Claire and I were in the same class and grew up together.
hmm
And Claire, we kind of it was like at church, right? We went to the same Sunday school for like years.
Yeah,
And
that's
yet
kind of
when
where
we,
me, and Wes all kind of met first was at church.
yeah. And then when we left, they built that basketball court, which was really a bummer.
It was ill timing.
I know. It's like we could have had a team, it'd been really good.
We would have been there all the time.
Exactly. We could have never got us out of church then.
No.
So, but so Claire, tell us what you're up to now because you're coaching now, right?
Yes. Yeah. So I'm at Gretna. I teach middle school there. Teach
Okay.
sixth grade English. And then I coach JV basketball for the girls team at the high school. And then I am the head track coach at the middle school level. So this
Nice.
past year was my first year with the high school. It was a lot of fun. Really, really enjoyed it. Before that, I was at just at Gretna Middle School doing seventh grade, which was a lot of fun too, but not nearly as competitive as I would like.
hmm
So being at the high school is a lot more fun and more exciting.
So growing up, your dad was the football coach for Fremont High. So
hmm
tell us about growing up as your dad as a coach and how that had an impact on you.
Yeah, well, so my dad growing up had always been the head football coach, so it's kind of like all I really knew. And Jake was actually like my neighbor just down the street, and so we would always be going to like the football practices. We'd go to all the football games, all the football camps, and I absolutely loved every single part of being like like a coach's kid. I absolutely loved it. Um, Getting into high school was a little bit was a little bit more difficult. Like my freshman year, my dad was there, I was there, and then after my freshman year, my dad ended up moving. So then it kind of was a little bit more. Um, I got to be kind of like a distance, like coach's kid. So I was still invested in my dad's team, but I wasn't like a part of the school, so it
Mm-hmm.
wasn't as um, I don't know, it wasn't as intense. And so I kind of missed that going through high school, having him there and just having like that something I was used to growing up was just that all the time. The fall was just super exciting, even though we weren't very good all the time, but it was just a fun thing for me. Um, and when I went to college, I didn't want to teach because my parents are both teachers, my sister's a teacher, my aunts are teachers. So I was like, I'm not going to be a teacher. I don't want to be a teacher, but I want to be a coach. And my mom and my dad were like, that's not exactly how it works, Claire. You're gonna have to teach. And so then I ended up teaching and I loved it. And coaching just kind of fell right in with it. I was student teaching and I just asked to volunteer coach with the middle school. And that's actually kind of how I got my foot in the door to teach at the middle school level and then coach too. So it all kind of just planned out really nicely.
Yeah. So as a little, you always want to be a coach because I remember when we were younger. I mean, there's so many. I mean, you probably have a lot of memories just walking over to practice, and I thought it was the coolest thing when your dad asked me with Ty and Trey to be the water boy and just travel with
Mhm.
them. Yeah, that's one of the coolest things. So, did you always like just want to grow up to be like that and to be a coach?
Yeah, I think so. And just like my love of basketball too was just I loved it from when I was little. I couldn't even I couldn't be out of the gym and I couldn't not have a basketball in my hand and I always thought that I would be like too competitive to coach. And I didn't think I'd be like good at explaining things.
Mm-hmm.
Um but then the more that I was like around kids,
Yeah.
the more that I like realized that I actually would be decent at it and like I kind of learned from experiences of my own of like what I liked, what I didn't like, how I would have liked to like experiences from, middle school up is what
Mhm.
kind of really pushed me to do coaching.
So, like growing up, did you kind of have the dream of wanting to play college basketball
Oh
from
yeah.
a young age?
Yeah. That's all I wanted to do and then high school came around and the only offers I really had were like NAIA schools and being from Fremont and I mean we all knew each other and people knew me that I didn't know because my parents were both teachers and that's just how it was. I wanted to go to a big school where not I wasn't known. That
Oh
was like
yeah.
kind of what I really, sorry if you can hear my dogs.
No.
Um, that's what I really wanted to do was just like go to a big school and playing basketball really wasn't going to happen for me at a larger school. And now thinking back on it, I have a couple of regrets with that. But when you're 17, you don't really have like that full knowledge of like, well, if you go to college for basketball, you won't have to pay for school necessarily. Or,
Yeah.
like in my freshman year, I can remember like going to the basketball games to watch Jess and Riley play. And I missed it so much. I was like, I really probably should have gone to college. But I mean, you live and you learn.
Yeah. What schools were recruiting? Like any high school, like really wanted you.
Um, Doane, Wesleyan, Midland,
Yeah.
Concordia. But
Nice.
I just didn't really want to. I went to the schools and I just felt like, and like you guys remember probably like what or why our senior year, like our gym was packed. Like
Hmm.
there was a
Yeah.
ton of people there. And I was like,
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
gonna go to this little school and nobody cares about girls basketball. There's gonna be
Oh
nobody
yeah.
there. That was another
Like,
thing too. So
yeah, I remember like Wes even said like, the NAI his when he went to Hastings, it
yeah.
wasn't as packed as our high school. But then I think one time I told him like, you get a scholarship to play, man. And
Yeah,
he's
I
knocking on
know.
my door, bro.
I wish
So
my I wish my parents would have like kind of walked me through that process a little bit more, but I think they just were like, do what you want to do, you
Hmm.
know?
Yeah.
yeah,
But
because like you didn't want to pressure him because if you went there and they didn't like it,
right,
but
right.
That's one thing about so even if it doesn't matter how good you were, like from football to basketball, whatever sport, like the gym was always packed. There's always people at the football game, so that was really cool. But then Claire
Yeah,
talked about, was it your sophomore year that you guys made it?
with your yeah,
Yeah.
with
yeah,
Cerise and everything. Yeah.
Yeah.
That was probably that I mean, my senior year was a lot of fun, but my sophomore year was like there was nothing like that year because it wasn't expected.
mhm.
So sophomore year, um, we had made it to state, and it was like the first time in 27 years for girls basketball. And it was just like the entire community was behind us. I remember like it was insane. We had like people, they brought us like shirts and necklaces and jewelry and like all of this stuff because we had made it to state. And it was just like, oh, it was so fun. I remember we were driving up to, because I was at Bob Devaney then
Mhm.
and we were driving up there and there was like a huge sign that somebody had put out as we were driving out there, like on not even just like a paper sign, like those like light up signs that they
Oh
put for
yeah.
traffic and everything. It was just so cool. Like it was, it had been my dream since I was little to be able to play at state basketball.
Hmm.
And for that to happen, I just was like over the moon. It
Yeah.
was awesome.
'Cause, I mean, that's up, and especially loving basketball. Like that's what you do. You go to state basketball in March, and you
Yeah.
always envision. I remember like going to watch like Mike Dell, Chloe Gow, guys
Yes.
before that. I was like, I want to do that. I'm sure that was
Yeah.
awesome. Like,
Oh, yeah. Well, and like Kendall and I,
mhm.
we would, my parents would never let me skip school, right? They're teachers. But when it came to state basketball, like we were able to skip those days and go watch all day. And it was just like, yeah, you wanted to be down there, you wanted to be a part of it. It was so cool. And then being able to play at Bob Devaney and then Pinnacle, that was
Yeah.
a cool experience too.
Yeah, I bet because it's different arenas. It was cool because I actually liked the Bob Devaney. Like it wasn't as nice as Pinnacle, but still cool. And
Yeah.
what was the experience then like your senior year? Because like weren't you guys kind of favored?
Oh yeah, we were favored hardcore and still a little salty about that, I'd say. But
Yeah.
yeah, senior year we were playing. It's weird. I can remember like every single moment my senior year of us playing at state. Sophomore year, it's all a blur. I don't know
Mm.
why. Like it's all just kind of a blur. But senior year, we were playing Millard West and we had just beat them like 2 weeks prior by like 12 points, 15 points, something like that. And it was our senior night game.
Mm.
And so then when we got matched up with them, we were kind of like, oh, like we've got this, because we didn't want to get matched up with um, Lincoln Northeast because they
Mm,
had I forget her name, Tony something, and she was Tony Tupper. Yes, she was massive, so she could like play with Jess, and
yeah.
that was something that we didn't want to have happen. And we had beat them once, and they had beat us once, So
Mm,
going in, I think we felt fairly confident, and yeah, going into play, we had the last game of the night, which was kind of cool. I know everybody wanted to get out of school, and we didn't.
Yeah.
Um,
yeah.
but yeah, it was super fun. That was actually the only game that I had fouled out of, surprisingly, my entire high school career. Um, yeah, it was crazy. It was upsetting, but it was super fun. Like I wouldn't I mean I would change that experience so we won, but it was a lot of fun.
Yeah, just to make it even is twice. That's hard. I mean, think
Yeah,
about it. Like you combine it to March Madness, it's like the Elite Eight,
right.
and like our senior year was so fun because both basketball teams were good,
I know.
and
And the boys
then
team was so close. They played Bell West, right? District
yeah, and
final.
we lost by like I wasn't there. I listened on the radio. I think we lost by
Hmm.
like 5 or something.
Yeah, I remember going to that game too, and
It was
it
like
was
really disappointing,
yeah.
but
But it was a fun year because we were both very, very good competitive teams.
yeah,
Um, but with Jess coming at the beginning of the year, like right from the start, it was like, oh, you guys are going to win state
Yeah.
because she had just won state with Southeast.
hmm
Yeah.
So, I mean, I didn't feel like there was like pressure. She probably felt there was pressure.
Oh,
Jess
yeah,
probably did. I mean, she
yeah.
kind of had all of that on her, but um, it was just fun to be playing with her again. Like we had played with her growing up. I know like Jake, you and Jess were really good friends growing up too, going to Howard and stuff.
Yeah.
And so it was just fun to like be like back with that friendship again and playing together because we'd played together since we were like in third grade. And then when they
nice.
moved, I think you guys were like in sixth grade or
Yeah.
something. So I
Yeah.
don't know. It was fun for her to come back for sure.
Claire, so kind of talked about graduating high school and when you go to play college, but talk about it's hard from going from high school to college, just like mentally. How was that? Think about transferring, going to smart school, or just going back to go to Midland, or just going home, or just anything like that.
Yeah. I had thought about like when it came to like fall, like late fall into basketball season, I was like, gosh, I wonder if I can transfer out and go play somewhere. But at that time, I had not played and I had joined a sorority and I had made friends. Um, so at that point, I just thought like it was just too late and
hmm
I would felt like I was behind a little bit, not being, I mean, I wasn't in shape anymore. Um, so it would have been a lot of work. And I think that just the fact that I had already found my friends and kind of gotten into a little niche that I did like going to Lincoln a lot. I mean, I liked being at the big school and everything. So I think I just kind of was like, well, this is what I chose and this is what I'm going to stick with. So,
Yeah.
So then, when you got into coaching, you said you coached JV basketball and then the middle school team. What's the difference between coaching? You go from high school JV to then coaching middle
well, I
schoolers.
was middle school first.
You're in
I
middle
was
school
middle school
first.
first and then
So
I did
then,
JV.
so what's the difference then? When now you still coach middle school in the spring, but is there like
Mhm.
different coaching
Oh, it's so
philosophies? You
different.
mean?
It's so
Yeah.
different. Um, so when I was coaching seventh grade girls, so you'd have like 20 girls come out, right? Or something like that. And you'd maybe have five that were good.
Hmm.
Like that like knew how to play.
Right.
Right.
Otherwise, girls were just coming out to have fun, that's what middle school sports are for.
Yeah.
You're going out there to have fun and get experience and stay active and all that stuff.
Mhm.
Well, for me being uber competitive, that was a bit difficult. So, um, we'd have an A and a B team,
Hmm.
and I always wanted to like make sure that the A girls were getting like better because I knew that they were going to be playing eventually. So yeah, I just struggled with like, okay, do I break up the practices? Like A is on this side of the floor, B is on this side of the floor, and we're just kind of separate? Or do I mix them together so that we have like, so that everybody's getting better? It was just kind of hard because you had girls that were super good and super athletic to girls that had never touched a basketball before. So it
Hmm.
was really hard to develop practices that way that were like you were accommodating everyone.
Uh,
That was the most difficult part, probably.
oh. Do you envision, would you like to be like a head coach one day, or do you like the level you're at, or kind of what's your thoughts?
So I've thought about it. Originally, I thought I wanted to be a head coach.
Mm-hmm.
And
Hmm.
now, like going through all of this summer, so like we have summer weights and conditioning and open gyms, like we did in
Hmm.
high school, but we have it like every Monday through Thursday. So I remember when I was in high school, it was like you had weights every day, but then you had open gym like 2 days a week. We have it every day. So I drive to Gretna because I don't live in Gretna. I live in Elkhorn. I drive to Gretna and we have weights at 7 to 8 and then open gym from 8 to 9. And then we have, league. I drive the girls to Lincoln for league games every Monday. So it's just a lot. Like you're doing a lot of stuff. And especially like not living in Gretna, it's really, really hard.
Hmm.
Um, I don't know, like eventually I'd want to start a family and stuff. And I mean, I know like growing up with my dad and everything, like my dad wasn't around all the time because he was just so focused on football. Like he
Hmm.
was either always up at the high school doing stuff or he was downstairs watching film, which I would go down and join him watching film
Yeah.
and everything. But I think just it's hard to be a head coach. It really is. It's so time consuming and you have a lot of pressure and I mean, you make up everything top to bottom. Like we practice the JV practices with the varsity. I don't have to make up a practice plan. Like she makes the practice plan up and we follow it. So
Hmm.
it's kind of nice just being JV right now. I would love to be like an assistant head coach. I think that would be like really, really like my speed, kind of like in between being the head coach and like the responsibilities of everything with that. Um, because I think just being like a woman, it's a little bit more difficult once you have kids and everything being a head coach.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah,
Um,
for sure.
I know
And then
you guys talked to
you
Coach
all,
Booth, so
then you would just like manage the parents and everything, and everyone's calm and not yelling at everyone. Right?
what was that?
I said you would just manage all the parents.
Oh yeah,
Management.
You really
Yeah.
control everyone yelling at you. Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, it's like
Wow.
I guess if something goes wrong, you're not, it's on the head coach. So
Well,
Yeah.
that's
that's
kind of
what
nice.
my dad had always said, like, my name's in the paper for when we lose or when we win,
Yeah.
but like it's never going to be the offensive coordinator that's
Yeah.
in there.
Yeah.
Like it's going to be the head coach,
Right.
which I always thought was like an interesting take. Like, yeah, you guys are all like a coaching staff and you all work together and we kind of all bear the weight of it, but they're really taking all of the heat.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Is there is there a sport you don't coach right now that you think would be fun to be an assistant coach in?
Um, I wouldn't hate coaching softball. Like I played softball growing up and everything. I
Hmm.
just think I would maybe get a little worn out doing three sports. I love
Yeah.
coaching track. I absolutely love it. Like I liked track and everything,
Hmm.
but coaching track is a lot of fun. Like you just have so many different types of kids out there, like being the head coach too. Like you have the throwers. I never got to watch kids throw or like high jump at meets because I was always, like doing something else. So it's just fun to be around all the different types of athletes that are competing.
Yeah. Talk more about that season because you guys finished really well, right?
We did, yeah. The girls finished first at the state meet for middle school.
Nice.
So yeah, it was super exciting. I mean, they're very, very talented group. Like I have nothing to do with that. Like they are very talented. And that's kind of like also a fun thing about track. Like there's just kids out there that you get and they're just fast. I had a girl that um she ran an let's see, like a 12 something 100. She ran
Wow.
a yeah, she ran a yeah, that she's moving. Like she's a seventh grader.
That's seventh grade. Dang,
Yeah.
that's
She scored
crazy.
24 points at the state meet by herself.
Wow.
Wow.
Yeah.
Is the
That's
middle school state meet, is that at Burke too?
No, it's in Gothenburg actually.
Oh,
Yeah.
So we had to drive, and like it's not for Gretna at least, they don't consider it like a school sanctioned meet. So if the girls wanted to go, like their parents had to take them out. I
uh,
asked if like I could drive a van or anything, and they're like, no, it's not a school like sanctioned thing. So if their parents want to take them, they can. And so then like I wasn't required to go, but I was like, I'm going. Like these girls are
right.
so good. I'm gonna go out there. And I'm so glad I did because they just had such a good turnout. And there's so many kids out there that are just incredibly fast. Like I couldn't believe how fast. And it was like it wasn't like separated like class A, B, C, or D. Like they all competed together. So it was
Mm.
like the top 24 individuals all class. So it was really, really cool. I wish it was at Burke. That'd be kind of a cool experience for those
That,
kids. Yeah,
I
but
wish I wish I would have had it when we were in middle school. They never had that, right? Never had.
no, because I
Yeah.
thought that I I would have liked to have competed in that, and I'm sure like my stepdad and my dad would have like really pushed me to go do that.
Yeah.
And no, it wasn't a thing. When I looked, I think it said that 2000 2011 might have been the first year, and we would have been freshmen.
yeah.
Oh,
So,
so we just missed it.
hmm
That would have been fun with like the people we had in our grade. Just
yeah,
go watch like middle school state track.
I
That would have
know.
been
Yeah, it
what
was
West.
really, really fun.
Yeah, West probably would have ran long distance. West hated long distance. Dude, he was good. I was like, problem is, bro, you're good.
I know. He
But
did like the 800, right? Or something like that.
yeah, and they had to run to practice.
Oh, yeah.
And he was like, it's awful. Just
Track's
running to
not for
practice.
everybody, that's for sure.
No. Like like you said, you just liked it as a player, but I think like you said, it's fun to watch. It's just fascinating to see how fast people are.
Yeah, it really is. And like I liked track to an extent because I was like quick, but once I got older and like I girls just get slower, like
Mm.
your bodies change and you just
Hmm.
you're not as quick as you used to be, and so like not being as good as I once wasn't as fun anymore either. So like it ebbs and flows with, especially with girls. Like if you look at the state meet, like most of the time it's freshman and sophomore girls winning things just
Wow.
because of like your body changes so much.
Oh,
But yeah.
Yeah, that's crazy.
did you?
I've never did you guys go to state track every year in high school just to watch, even if you didn't make it?
Yeah.
Like, because
Yeah. I
I've,
ran in state my freshman and my sophomore year.
oh, sweet.
Um, and then junior year and senior year I didn't go out because I had some health problems. I don't know if you guys remember at state basketball I like puked on the floor.
Oh,
Oh,
You guys remember that?
oh, I wasn't there, so I didn't know that.
I
Yeah,
do.
I yeah, I don't know. And I wasn't like I was in great shape, but we ended up finding out that I had like endometriosis, which is like a thing in your stomach. And so
Mm,
I had that the prior season with track and I'd collapsed a couple times. So my
Wow.
senior year, I was like, it's just not worth it. Like I don't love track enough to go through that all the time.
yeah, for
So,
sure.
but yeah, freshman year and sophomore year, I went to state track and it was, oh my gosh, two of the best I think state experiences have to be state track and state basketball. Like there's nothing like it.
Yeah.
State track is so fun, and like my sister, when I was growing up, I would always go and watch her, um and then, like Fremont was always good at
Mm.
Yeah,
track and like cross country, so it was always so fun to watch, and like we're always up in that corner and like running the 400, like you could just like hear everybody kind of cheer you on over that side too. Like I don't know, state track is just so cool and such a fun experience.
Yeah, it's got their like top corner there. You always hear a great turnout, and yeah, cross country and track because it's always been good.
Yeah, always.
yeah. I don't know how we became running school, but I think we won state like twice when we were in high school
Yeah.
for cross country, and I didn't know that until some
hmm
of my friends told me.
Yeah,
But
I know. I always felt bad too because it's like nobody would go, but it's like it's that's like a really like
yeah,
it's
cool
hard to
thing.
watch. You have
Yeah,
to run with them.
yeah,
Like you have to
Yeah,
go and run with them. It's hard, but it's cool. Like when kids are really good at, it's just fun to watch people that are so good at what they do.
yeah.
yeah. And like, I mean, I was friends with like Trevor Weir, so I knew like when we won because he'd be in the paper for it. He was
Right.
good, and it's just like, wow, like I can't believe how good we are, and
Yeah.
like we probably should have gone to watch more because we
Yeah.
were really good.
Yeah.
And I
But
remember watching Ty, his senior year
Mhm.
at cross country and track too. And then I remember that I think he won the 800.
Yeah,
That
he won the.
that's the coolest. Like
Oh,
to see
so
that
cool.
be there and yeah. So it is. They're super gifted, but yeah.
Yeah. I remember when Ty won that too, and I think he got the all class gold for it too. Which is insane. Like, and nobody was more deserving of that than him, you know? Like, but you just have, it's like such a, I don't know, that experience, especially if you go up like we said with basketball, like going there and watching, like it's all you really want to do if you run track. Like that's your goal is to get to Burke. Like,
hmm
and so when you actually make it there and for Ty to like make it there and like win gold, like, oh gosh, just it's so cool.
yeah, I just remember like Wes went and he told me how cool of a experience it
Mhm.
was because like a bunch of people went to watch just Ty run that 800.
Oh,
I
for
remember.
sure. Yeah.
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 So Claire, like just throughout like coaching, your playing career, what has sports taught you about like facing adversity, like
Oh
in
man.
life, and then just I guess sports, but mostly like your life, because a lot of us take the lessons we learn in sports and you
Oh,
use them in your everyday life.
yeah. Um, Growing up, like I played every sport there was, like I played
hmm
softball, I did volleyball for a little bit, I did flag football, I did basketball, like all of those things. And obviously it just taught me like the more that I practiced, the better I got, obviously. And
hmm
so like the more I put in the work, the more rewarding it was when I would go and play.
hmm
But then also at the same time, like I can remember having like bad basketball games. Like I was just off and being so frustrated with myself because I'd put in the work and I wasn't, performing. And I had to like rely on my other set of skills to like make up for that. So like I just remember thinking like, okay, I'm not making my shots right now. Like what are the other things that I can do to like help my team? So that's kind of like how I think of things in life too right now. Like, okay, if I'm not, you know, helping like at school, like if I'm not helping a kid like perform really well right now, but what can I do for them like in their social life? Like how can I make them just a better person overall? If they're not like,
hmm
like some kids just aren't like gifted academically, so like how can I help them be like the best person that they can be instead of
Yeah.
like the best like academic student? So like that was one thing that I always thought of as like what are the take what you can get and then like run with that and what
hmm
you're good at. Um, but then also with like I just think of like the experiences with how I played and like I was super aggressive and super um like just competitive, uber competitive. I get super, super frustrated with myself. And like with girls that I coach now, like I can relate to them so much when I'm like, you don't want to be like, there's times definitely now when I look back and I'm like, I should not have acted that way. You
hmm
know, like I would get so frustrated where I'm like, take it from me, you don't want to be that player, like learn from my mistakes. So I just talk to my girls about different things like being a good teammate. Like there's definitely times when I was not the best teammate and I can say that hands down. Like there's things that I would have changed for sure. Um, but being able to like help other girls that maybe, have that same type of like intensity that I did actually be good teammates. Um, that's something that I really try and hone in on. Like, here's my experience and how I was. I want you to be different. I want you to be a good teammate. I want you to be like somebody that people want to be around and like all that stuff. Like, I'm not saying I was like a terrible person or anything like that, but
Right.
there's definitely places where I was too intense.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I think there were quite a few of us like that. I didn't even play, and I was too intense.
Well, and it's always a little bit different with girls too.
hmm
Like, guys, I feel like you guys could get on one another and then like the next day you're fine.
Yeah.
Girls hold grudges, Like I do too. I do too. Like it's just the nature of the beast. Like you do, but if if I can like help my girls be better at not being so intense all the time. Like there's definitely times when it's good to be intense.
Yeah.
But, sorry, my dogs are right here again.
No, you're good.
If I can help them just a little bit and like kind of relate to them, I think like being young right now, it's easy for me to relate to them
Hmm.
so that they will like listen to me rather than like in 20 years when I'm 40 something years old.
Mm.
Be a little bit more
Hmm.
difficult to relate to them, but right now I think they like take my word for it. So,
Yeah, for sure. Sometimes too, the positive of being intense is like they get the team going. Because if you're not intense, like
yeah,
we're here to win. We're not here
right.
just to have
Well, and
fun.
that's what was always my thing was like I'm here to win. I'm here to like I want us to like compete and do our best and like I want to play my best. I want you to play your best. And like after my sophomore year of basketball, my junior year we were not good. We were
Hmm.
not good. And we just didn't have, like Charisse, Jake's sister had graduated. She was a major player for us. Allison Bachman had graduated. She was major for us. Liz Sadjovic graduated. Shelby Riley, Aaron Griffiths, like they all were gone and they all played so well together. So then I think the only returning people were me and Kendall.
Mm.
And so like playing with different people now was really hard. And I don't think that everybody on the team was as committed as like Kendall and I were, so it was difficult. Um, but then jumping into like senior year, it was just like kind of like a breath of fresh air having people again around you that were like, okay, we're in this, like we're here to win, we want to get better, all of that.
Yeah,
So
for
Yeah.
sure.
It's so fun to look back and reflect on how things went and how what you would have done differently and the
hmm
lessons you learned and sharing that with girls you're coaching now.
yeah. Well, I can like remember my junior year, my mom talking to me, which my mom always wanted to like, give me advice. She wasn't like an athlete necessarily growing up because like that just wasn't like a thing really for them, but she would try and help me with like just mentally going through stuff.
Hmm.
And I remember my junior year, she was like, so how would like Charisse and Liz and Allie, like how would they help you when you were younger? Like be a teammate like them. So like it was always interesting because she would like refer back to like people that I had played with that I really like admired and really loved being around. And so she was like, you want to be like them, like the teammate that they were to you, you want to be that teammate to other people. So
Yeah.
she always helped me with like that mental piece of it.
Nice. Growing up, were there like what coaches, besides your dad, were there any like women coaches or men, but mostly women coaches you look up to?
Not that I didn't have any women coaches, which was kind of a bummer. Besides in softball, I had a
Hmm.
few, but none that really like stuck around. I think we had a couple different ones, which I really loved it when I did have women coaches, just because it's just different, like,
Hmm.
um, not that I hated having male coaches at all, but it was different having like a female around.
Hmm.
I mean, growing up loving basketball, I always watched Pat Summitt like coach, and I love the Tennessee Vols, and I just I always like loved her intensity and how like she would like push her players and everything. And so now I love Kim Mulkey. I love her so much. Like she's so intense and so like just the love of the game that she has and like the love of like her players just like radiates when she coaches. And so those two women I like for coaches that I like really try and like look up to.
Awesome. Well, thanks, Claire, for joining us on Be Unexpected, and good
Yeah, it
luck
was
with your
great being here.
yeah, good luck with your basketball season and your track season, and can't wait to see how you guys turn out. So,
Thanks.
Yeah.
It'll
all
be
right.
interesting this year with the divide of Gretna, so we'll see.
Oh yeah, I forgot that.
Mm.
So, what school are you gonna be at
I'm at
then?
the original.
You're at the original?
hmm
Okay. And
So then there's
then
Gretna East.
are they both gonna be Class B?
I think we're both Class A this first
Oh,
year.
okay, the Class A still.
hmm
I never know. There's so many schools to go back and forth.
Yeah, I know. There was like three new Class A schools last year, so It'll be interesting, but it's going to be fun. We'll have, a smaller group of girls. Maybe we can hone in on like some specific like skill sets and stuff. So it'd be fun.
Nice. Well, thanks for joining us, Claire.
Yeah, thanks, guys. It was good talking to you.